Hey guys, Ernest Langdon and Bill Vitello, and today we're going to talk about flashlights. A flashlight is probably one of the most important personal safety tools that you can have on you at all times. And the reason for that is, as human beings, we don't really see well in the dark, especially during the time periods where we're going from a lighted environment to a dark environment where our eyes are adjusting. Having a flashlight is very important to navigate, to find things, all of that. And from a safety standpoint, it is a very good defensive tool.
Ernest, I've been carrying a light for a while now, but recently my wife has asked me, what should she carry? And I don't have a great answer for that. The light that I carry is the SureFire Stiletto. It fits in my bigger pockets well, but she doesn't want something that big, or she says maybe it's too powerful for her. What are some things that I should discuss with her to pick out a good light?
We basically have 4 things we need to discuss when we're trying to select and decide what type of flashlight that we want to carry with us. And the first one, as you mentioned, is size. Is it a small enough size, or is the size compatible with my wardrobe and my everyday life? Lights are small enough and bright enough now that there's really no excuse not to carry one. Like you said, this SureFire Stiletto is a very capable light that has a lot of capabilities, being very bright, has low dim settings, it's USB rechargeable and all of that, but it's not exactly small. The other thing that we want to consider is how bright it is, okay? Is it bright enough to actually work as a defensive tool if need be, meaning shine in someone's face, kind of take away their ability to see well. Also, we need to look at the battery power, or how it is charged, what kind of fuel it uses, and finally, activation, how we turn it on and off, and how that works for you. Now, you said you use the Stiletto. What are the key features there that you like about it?
So for me, I like the shape and the size of the light. It fits my hand really well, and then obviously it's super bright.
Right, and then that's important. Like you said, brightness is important, but as you were saying, your wife is looking for a light, and that one's maybe a little too big for her.
Yes, correct.
So yeah, it is bigger, but it is extremely capable and bright. She may have to choose something that's a little bit smaller. And brightness is important when we're talking about a flashlight and what we want it to do for us. Like this little SureFire MicroStream is a rechargeable light, but it's also very bright, but it's tiny. And there's no reason not to carry something that's this small. And again, micro USB rechargeable, great light. But as we go up in size, we also go up in brightness. So that's something that you're gonna have to make a decision on. Rechargeable lights like this Stiletto or like the MicroStream are a great option, but for some people, if you're not used to recharging things, that may not work well for you. The light that I carry a lot is the Pro-Tac, and this one will take a 123 battery or a AA battery. If you can't find a 123, let's say you're traveling international, you can find AA's anywhere. So that's an important standpoint there. So you mentioned, or at least you mentioned to me before, that the tail cap activation was important for you. And I agree with that. I think that a tail cap activation is the right way to go for a personal defense flashlight, because no matter how you pick it up, you know how to turn it on to get that light going. The side switches are fine for administrative work. For example, the Stiletto, you can turn it on a lower power with the side switch, but the main power comes on from the rear tail cap. And that means when I grab it in a hurry, I always know how to turn it on.
So usually my wife has her phone on her all the time, and there's a flashlight app on there. And so typically if she needs a flashlight for something, she just pulls out her phone and hits the flashlight button. What's the difference between that and, say, a handheld light?
So that's super common. A lot of people, hey, I have a flashlight on me all the time because I have my phone. And then first of all, yes, it's a flashlight for like finding your keys maybe, but it's not a really good personal safety tool. And the big reason for that is the beam on it is very dispersed. It's not that bright. And it takes a while to get to it and turn it on. Whereas these flashlights have a more controlled focus beam, where when you grab it, you can actually point it at someone, point it at their eyes. And when you do that, you're taking information away from them and you're changing their environment. We kind of have to remember that people that have evil intentions, if you will, they like often to work in the cloak of darkness. And when you point a flashlight at them, you're taking that away from them and you're changing their environment and you're putting yourself in a more empowered position. It doesn't necessarily defend you, but it definitely turns the tables to your advantage a little bit.
So Ernest, that makes perfect sense. I love using mine as a defensive tool, but I also use it as an administrative tool.
Absolutely, because The reality is we're way more likely to be able to use this as kind of a personal safety tool where we can navigate to not trip and fall, to look where we're going when it gets dark, or if the power goes out in the building that we're in. Now we immediately have a light that's really going to be helpful for us and for others. And so yeah, from an administrative standpoint, it's probably more important or as important there as it is a defensive tool.
Could you give me some more information on what the difference is in terms of brightness, power, and that sort of thing?
Sure. So what we need to do is go through and compare them so we can see what the different light is. Obviously, the smaller light is going to be the least bright. The brightest one on the table is probably this mod light. And so with that brightness, we have to talk about the size of the lens, how it throws the light. Some of the larger lens lights are going to have a more focused beam, and the smaller lenses, like the cell phone, is going to have a more dispersed beam without that focus and the ability to aim it. So for example, even this little light is significantly brighter than the light on a cell phone, all right? It's going to throw the beam farther, and it's going to be more focused, and it's going to be brighter. If we move all the way up, obviously your stiletto here is much brighter than that. But it has a relatively small lens, so it disperses the beam quite a bit. And then if we talk about, for example, this mod light, this one is very bright, but it has a very focused lens, and it's going to throw that light at a much further distance with a lot more bright beam in the center.
Okay.
So bottom line, guys, we recommend that you carry a flashlight both for safety and administrative purposes. Check the links below for details from the manufacturers about specifications and how they work. Make a good choice for you so that you are carrying a light all the time. Guys, we hope this information helps you make a logical decision on what's right for you.